Welcome to RBM Sports Center. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I hope you guys are a fan of Fallout 4. Fun fact, when this game first came out, I played it every day for 6 weeks. It was extremely entertaining and satisfying for me as a gamer, and I decided today to play it again, this time from scratch. So I actually installed it on my PC, and I'm going to be playing a whole new playthrough. Hope you guys enjoy, and now on to the video. I'm going to be quoting something that Deontay Wilder has said recently. This is a piece I got from a website called Bad Left Hook, and it says, the title reads, Deontay Wilder says, Dillian Whyte has to blame himself for not getting the WBC title shot. And it says that Dillian Whyte has 4 strikes against him. So I'm going to be quoting Deontay Wilder now, the Bronze Bomber. I told Dillian Whyte, I gave him 2 options. I told him to sign with the PBC when he came from over here, network shopping or whatever he was doing over here. So I told him, yeah, just sign with us. A 1-fight deal. Then no problem. We'll get that fight on. We can get it on. I'll give you that shot. But that was one time. Strike. Then he says that another strike came to Dillian Whyte when he told Dillian Whyte to face Luis Ortiz, and if he beat Luis Ortiz, he would 100% give Dillian Whyte a title shot. And I'm going to keep quoting Deontay Wilder now. I don't want people to feel sorry for him. I really don't. I know I came out and said it's a shame with what's going on, but it's a shame what's been going on because of his own actions. I want to clear that up. Because of his own actions, he allowed himself not to have this opportunity, because he said 3 times, really 4 times. So that's what Deontay Wilder had to say. So the first thing I'm going to be addressing is what he said. The first thing he said in this piece. He said that when, because if you guys remember, earlier this year, Dillian Whyte came to the U.S. and he was, I believe it was for when Adrian Broner fought Manny Pacquiao. During that time, he was in the U.S. and at the time he was having a lot of, it seemed like, problems with Eddie Hearn, and a lot of people were thinking that he was going to leave Eddie Hearn. And this is when Tyson Fury signed to ESPN. A lot of people were thinking, okay, he's going to sign to ESPN because there was rumors that he was going to sign to ESPN. He might sign with an American network. And during this time, Deontay Wilder, I remember, came out and said, listen, I'll fight him, but he has to come over to the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions. But that didn't happen. Dillian Whyte stayed with Matchroom, and of course now he's going to fight Oscar Vargas. So what he's saying is he wanted Dillian Whyte to fight to join PBC in order to fight him. And I told you guys a long time ago, Deontay Wilder does not want to be associated with somebody like Eddie Hearn. So if he wants you to be fighting in the same network that he's fighting on, PBC. That's why, if you notice, when it comes to Deontay Wilder, he tends to fight a lot of PBC fighters because it's easy for those fights to make. That's why I'm very confident that he's going to eventually fight Andy Ruiz Jr. Dillian Whyte didn't choose to go to, Al Heyman, the PBC. And then he's talking about that, he thinks he should fight Luis King Kong Ortiz. And I remember, I think it was either earlier this year or last year, that the WBC wanted to make Dillian Whyte, no, it was last year, the WBC wanted to make Dillian Whyte fight Luis Ortiz, and then the winner of that becomes the mandatory for Deontay Wilder's WBC belt. Dillian Whyte chose not to do that. Instead, he chose to fight Joseph Parker, and a lot of people are saying and feel that, well, he should have not ducked Luis Ortiz. He should have fought, he should have not fought, because I remember, at the time, this was like October, November. At the time, I made a video saying I want to see him fight Luis Ortiz, but it didn't happen. Instead, Dillian Whyte fought Daryl Boy Chisora, and he beat him. I knew he was going to win that fight. I didn't want to see that fight, and I remember Eddie Hearn coming out saying that's a fight he's going to make because that's a bigger fight in the UK than Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. And at the time, I remember Dillian Whyte was telling Luis Ortiz, come to the UK, I'll fight you December 22nd, 2018, but in the UK. Luis Ortiz said, no, I want to fight you on the undercard of Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Dillian Whyte said no. The fight didn't happen. So they're basically saying, Deontay Wilder is basically saying that if he would have took that fight with Luis Ortiz and had he beaten him, he would have given him this WBC title shot, or he would have become the mandatory for Deontay Wilder's WBC belt. Right? I don't necessarily believe that. I think that if he did fight Luis Ortiz and let's say he were to beat him, I think they still would have made Dominic Brazil the mandatory. I think they still would have done that, personally. But the only thing I don't get is this whole idea that like you have to fight Luis Ortiz to get a shot at Wilder. I don't know why people always say that. A lot of Deontay Wilder fans say that. It's always like this big deal. Okay, well, if Dillian Whyte wants to fight Deontay Wilder, he has to get through Luis Ortiz. Why does everyone always want Dillian Whyte to fight Luis Ortiz? Who is Luis Ortiz? Really? Like, why is this guy like, this is the standard? If you don't fight Luis Ortiz and beat him, you can't get a shot at Deontay Wilder. There's been several guys that didn't fight a Luis Ortiz and still got a shot against Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury was fighting none but bums, and he still got a shot against Deontay Wilder. It wasn't like people. I don't remember people saying he got to fight Luis King Kong Ortiz. Nah, son, he got to fight Ortiz first. Wilder gave him a shot. Dominic Brazil, I understand Dominic Brazil was the manager for Deontay Wilder's WBC belt, but still, Dominic Brazil fought a bum in the groin in his last fight, and before that, he hadn't fought in like a year when he fought Eric Molina, so he was very inactive. He didn't have to fight Luis Ortiz. So I don't understand why there's like this stipulation that, well, the only way Dillian Whyte could fight Deontay Wilder is if he fights Luis Ortiz. That's it. He needs to fight Luis Ortiz. If he doesn't fight Luis Ortiz, he's never gonna. That seems to be the rule. Like if he doesn't fight Luis Ortiz, he's never gonna get the Deontay Wilder fight. Well, what happens if Deontay Wilder knocks out Luis Ortiz in his next fight, as I predict? Does he still have to fight Luis Ortiz? Are people still gonna be saying, oh no, he has to fight Luis Ortiz first, even though he just got knocked out against Deontay Wilder? I don't understand why this is like a big issue with some boxing fans where they want him so bad to fight Luis Ortiz. I just feel like when it comes to Dillian Whyte, the unfair treatment he gets is the fact that when it comes to these other mandatories, they have these easier fights. They fight these easier bums, like then a grown guy or like Eric Molina, who was a bum. And then they automatically get their shot at Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury fought two bums, and he had not fought a legit heavyweight since 2015 when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. Yeah, he got this shot against Deontay Wilder. He didn't have to. It wasn't like he had to earn his shot to fight Deontay Wilder. It wasn't like he fought a legit top 10 heavyweight, schooled him, and then he got a shot against Deontay Wilder. That's how I look at it. When it comes to these other heavyweights, it seems like it's much easier for them to get these shots at, or it seems like most of Deontay Wilder's opponents, it's much easier for them to get this opportunity to face for Deontay Wilder or challenge for Deontay Wilder's WBC belt. And they don't have to fight these top opposition, but when it comes to Dillian Whyte, they want to put him in there against the most dangerous guys. And Luis Ortiz, although he's up there in age, he is a dangerous guy. That's all. That's how I see it. They want to it's almost like they want him to lose. They're like, all right, like see if you could actually beat this guy. I don't know. Did Dillian Whyte dug Luis Ortiz? I don't know. Did Luis Ortiz dug Dillian Whyte? I don't know. All I know is I remember seeing an article where Luis Ortiz came out and he was like, I would fight Dillian Whyte. And all I can tell you is I remember seeing an article where I saw where Dillian Whyte said, I would love to fight, what's his name, Luis Ortiz. So I don't think they're both ducking each other at all. I don't know why that fight didn't happen. But again, I just don't understand why Dillian Whyte has to fight Luis Ortiz to get the Deontay Wilder shot. I do think had he joined PBC, it probably would have been easier for them to make that fight, just because Deontay Wilder doesn't want to associate himself with what's his name, Eddie Hearn. He just doesn't like him. That's why he didn't sign with DAZN or any of that. He does not want to be, he really does not like Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn said a lot of stuff about Deontay Wilder in social media, in interviews. And Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, is a person that, when he sees people talk shit about him, he takes it really personal and he doesn't like them anymore. And that's why, you see Deontay Wilder always saying, Eddie Hearn burned so many bridges. And that's why I don't think he wants to ever schedule a fight for him to fight one of his heavyweights, And that's why he makes it impossible to fight guys like Dillian Whyte or Anthony Joshua. Because he personally does not like Eddie Hearn himself. I feel that, I feel you could blame both of these dudes. I feel you could blame Deontay Wilder for not, I feel like you could blame the WBC and Dillian Whyte for not giving Dillian Whyte a title shot. I think the WBC they're to blame for not making Dillian Whyte a mandatory for Deontay Wilder's WBC belt. But at the same time, I think that Dillian Whyte himself, he could blame him because he, for example, he could have fought the Anthony Joshua when he was unified champion. He could have fought him earlier this year. Like, he had an opportunity, but he turned that down. No one told him not to turn that down. Eddie Hearn offered him a whole lot of money, £5 million, I believe, and Dillian Whyte did not like what the rematch clause said if he were to beat Anthony Joshua, so he walked away. You know, he could have taken that. Maybe he could have beaten Anthony Joshua. Who knows? Right now, he would have been in the position of Andy Ruiz Jr. is. But now he let Andy Ruiz Jr. take his spot. So, again, he had his opportunity to face a world champion for multiple belts in Anthony Joshua earlier this year. And that's why I made a video saying a long time ago, Dillian Whyte is going to regret, not taking that Anthony Joshua fight, because look at how now he's still waiting for a title shot. He missed the opportunity with Anthony Joshua, and now, Deontay Wilder is not going to be giving him a shot unless he becomes mandatory. And I don't know what Dillian Whyte has to do to make himself mandatory. So, again, I think you could blame both the WBC, but Dillian Whyte himself for missing out on title opportunities. So, you can't really feel sorry for Dillian Whyte. He had his opportunity earlier this year. He didn't take it. Will he ever fight Deontay Wilder? I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I personally would be picking Deontay Wilder to KO Dillian Whyte. I've always said this. I've always felt this way. But, that's just my opinion. We're going to have to see what happens if Dillian Whyte could get past Oscar Varez, which is a difficult fight for him. But let's see what happens. Anyway, guys, I have to say, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'm out. Peace.